Welcome into the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Fontaines, DC, and their new record, Romance. They released that on August 23rd. This is the fourth studio album for the Irish quintet, and their follow-up to 2022's Skinty Fia, and this is the best band out of Ireland right now. I will argue this all day. I think the Murder Capital is a very close second, but this outfit, as far as the consistency and the prolific output that they've had since 2019 and their debut, Doggerel, 4 albums in 5 years, and the way that their style keeps opening up and the way that they continue to influence, really being at the forefront of that big post-punk explosion in 2019, like right before COVID went down. And that Doggerel is just such an angsty album. I love the energy on it. But it's no wonder that, like so many other outfits, you see these guys grow up, and like anybody else, they're going to open themselves up to the world. Different things will inspire them, and their perspectives will change. And you've seen that with every single album that they've put out, within such a short time frame. It is pretty wild to see that growth and to see, how like there's so much quality there in the songwriting. These guys, there's just no end to what you can talk about with what's going on. I want to start with the influence of Dan Carey. No longer on board with production, was there for the first 3 records. They're working with James Ford now, worked with Arctic Monkeys, who, is a guy who I think he's really honing in on some of those brighter, dare I say, poppier sounds. I think if there's a big pop influence that's driving what they do, it's chamber pop more than anything. But I think that's an influence that's always balanced very well with the kind of, brooding, ominous feelings of post-punk in general. I think it's a good mashup, and I like the change. I like just bringing in someone different, creating something fresh. It's something that I've argued it many times on the channel that all artists should do. I love the change of perspective. This band's first 2 records very much focused musically and thematically on their homeland of Ireland. Skinty Fia, it's an old slur for damnation of the deer, is a record that finds them dealing with the alienation that they feel being in London, which to many of you, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. But having lived in Ireland and having had conversations with people, they hop across the pond and it's a very different experience as far as really feeling like an outsider. And so it was great to experience that record, its energy, not because it was just such a beautiful, cohesive record that, amongst many other influences, the accordion was at work there. This band branching outside of their musical sphere, but also outside of, I guess, their comfort zone, their perspective. And so Romance is a wild record. This is an album from a band who's now been touring a bunch. They've been around the world. They know the impact. They're aware of what they're doing and how many people are listening now. This album influenced by Italian cinema and Japanese manga, which is basically the very familiar cartoon aesthetic that you recognize with any type of Japanese comic. I almost said anime. I don't know if that's the right term. I'm not versed in this stuff at all. But a very distinguishable aesthetic. And so what I love about these guys, I feel like it's rarely music that's inspiring what they do. And, Grian Chatten talks about this. He talks about being in a place, seeing something, feeling something, experiencing something, and how that is so much more conducive to their songwriting experience anyway. It's great reading about the influence of poets on these guys, especially Irish writers, guys like James Joyce, William Butler Yeats, even someone more contemporary like Seamus Heaney. These guys, they pull from such a big artistic pool that it makes their music so fascinating and so enthralling for me, and I think for most of their listeners, knowing just dabbling all these different things and just knowing that you're connecting not just with their music, but you're also connecting with them and all these different things that are influencing it. And I think that is something that allows a fan to gravitate towards a certain artist so much more. This record is like I really I like the departure from the Irish centric themes opening up to the world. You get a record that it has more universal themes, focused a lot on love, loss, and it's just great to hear these guys experiment and continue to play around. The debate is interesting. I think Skinty Fia honestly is their best record still to date. Romance is fabulous. This is a band that's finding itself grounded in its post-punk roots still, but doing more than it's ever done with its sound, I would argue. So you will hear people say that this is their best record to date, and I will entertain those arguments. I think they're worth hearing, and I look forward to this band continuing to put out records. This is an outfit that they've all pretty much been together since 2014. So you talk about a decade of that bond and what that brings to the table. I will argue for that dynamic all day. I think it's super important. And I think the longer that you stay with people, it's not always easy. You're always going to have complications with relationships and frustrations. That's just life. That happens. Any relationship that is worthwhile, that's worth maintaining, though, you find a way to struggle through those battles. And this is an outfit that feels like they're always going to make the effort to do so because they're aware of their potential in the future. And that's really cool. Romance is your opening track. I mean, seriously, this album could have gone anywhere from this track. I love this opener. It's wild. It has these spooky synths, really ominous, and the track just kind of lingers along in this really creepy way. I love the vocal that's coming from Green there. It reminded me of like 90s grunge, really like Alice in Chains. It reminded me of something like sludgy that they would have done. Love that influence of Alice in Chains, and I mean, I felt like there was a little bit of like Nirvana influence at times, amongst many other things that are going on in this record, though. But this is just the opener, but it maintains this minimalism. The song brightens on the hook a little bit, and then comes back to that dark feel. But what a wild way to open this thing up, and just a true testament to why this band is so talented. They are always going to keep you on your heels no matter what. Starburster is your second track. I felt like the intro was very Beatlesque, kind of this like very psychedelic, slightly psychedelic synth open. Simple piano enters, vocal behind that, and then the drums hit superbly on this thing, and it goes to work. I like the way that the vocal hits at this rapid fire level, and I love the simple riff that's working on this thing as well. The breakdown on this thing is driven by strings. I thought that element of the song is cool. This song reminded me of Kasabian as far as the energy, that loudness, that just in your face intensity was a great way to come off that opening track. I felt just really nice continuity on this record so far. Here's the Thing is your third track. 90s alternative rock feel, tiny bit of shoegaze driving that as well. I thought that was a fun way of differentiating this track. Big bass drive on this thing though, lots of fuzz. Love that element of it. Desire is your fourth track. Might be my favorite song. This song is so cool. You get this, again, that brooding piano to open, synths build in lightly to usher in a vocal, and it keeps working in and out. Everything hits in at about like a minute and 20. And I love the groove that the song finds. It just builds super big all the way to the end. It's a brilliant song. A great example of why they are such talented, prolific songwriters. In the Modern World is your fifth track. Simple riff and a vocal to open, rhythm guitar textures build, loose drums, strings, and I mean, just like the backing vocal that continues on this thing is amazing. This is just a gorgeous post-punk track. Really a fine, just another fine moment on this album that I enjoyed the hell out of. Bug, your sixth song, breezy acoustic and electric. I love the guitar to open, and I love the roll on the bass that pops in after that. Echo and the Bunny Man, like just with that breezy kind of acoustic guitar feel, was what it reminded me of. There's a little bit of jangle pop that's at work on this song, and I really feel like you get that when the drums roll in after about a minute to drive on this track. Your seventh song, Motorcycle Boy. Trippy synths, an acoustic guitar to open. The vocal enters, and the track's going to stay pretty minimal. You get this intermittent drum roll that works into the song, and it increases in intensity as it builds. I really like that element of it. Sundowner is your eighth track. Mellow ambient. It's this moody electronic track. Very interesting, like all the elements that are at play there. Breezy acoustic guitar that's going to back that up. Enjoyed that. And this breakbeat percussion. It's very unique. Reminded me of Broken Bells, James Mercer there. And Danger Mouse, I love that project. And there was some familiarity as far as the melodies and just the feel of that track that I felt. Hoarseness is the whatness, excuse me. Should be able to quote that properly. It is James Joyce. Ulysses, love these guys. You know, they're literary. Even when they're stepping away from the Irishness, they're still bringing it to the table. There's no way that they're ever going to 100% leave that, nor should they. And I love that. This song is incredible. This is definitely my other favorite song next to Desire. Pretty strings to open. They usher in this simple bass riff, prominent vocal, just breezy guitar works in and out. Light shaker is going to carry the percussion. There's snare elements. Just a marvelous song. Really very, very pretty. Death Kink is your penultimate track. That's a great song title. Grungy guitar to open. I feel like the music matches what the song title might suggest. Hard not to hear Nirvana on this one. Talking about that, just but like a solid rock and roll number. Really, like I love the energy coming off. Hoarseness is the whatness, and then favorite is Wild. There's a lot of people saying this is their favorite track on the record. It is solid. It's got this breezy acoustic and electric lead. The drums kick in and the vocal hit, and it goes to work. And it's just feel good, chill, alternative rock. The lead lick is so catchy. I mean, this is a damn fine song. And I've heard people argue that this might be kind of like, the ending with this album is leading into what the next project might be like, which if that's the case, there's definitely a lot more pop flair. I feel like more of think of a band like Phoenix. Oso just came out with a new album recently. That's a great record that's worth checking out. Who's to say? I know that no matter what, Fontaines DC, they're always going to stay grounded in that sound. So that makes me that post-punk sound, that original sound of Dongro, which that makes me excited for anything that they do in the future. This is a beautiful record. 37 minutes, 11 songs from start to finish. There's no filler on this thing. It's all enjoyable. Going to give this an 8.1 out of 10. It's there. And this band is there. They're just phenomenal. If you're not familiar with them, check them out. Obviously, we're going to please this thing on the vinyl. And I hope you enjoyed this record. Hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video and share it. Subscribe to the channel. Do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2024. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.